Yo, what is up, everybody? Bradley here, and we are added with a special broadcast, special episode, special show. As you can see, I am joined by a plethora of various owners from the league. And as the overlay indicates, this is the Madden Elite Champions panel. Um, I am no champion here. I am hosting this show, right? Um, the other guys that I am joined by, though, represent the champions of all five of our seasons in our inaugural cycle. Season one, the championship was won by Benjamin Beamen, which is right next to me. And then season two, that championship was won by Fun Guy, which is next to Benjamin Begelman. And next to Fun Guy, also representing the AFC North with Chuck over there, we have Orion. And then the season four champion, the miraculous season four champion, and we'll get to that eventually. But we have Jmac. And next to Jmac, the man who went through an absolutely unreal gauntlet, Kanu, the winner of the season 5 championship. So I'm very excited for this show. I think the lead up to this show, my anticipation for it has probably been higher than all of our others, all the other shows we've done. We've done quite a few shows. I think shows on YouTube, it's probably close to 40. That's not counting all of the stream games that we did. The only of the stream games we did, the only ones we archived were the Super Bowls. So we probably maybe a little above 50 broadcasts that we did in our first cycle. So it's pretty good, pretty good. But I'm super excited for this broadcast. And you might notice on the overlay, above our cams, you see what look like 4 or 5 cards. Our owners are familiar with how we are doing team reveals, but basically we are going to be doing team reveals with kind of mutt style cards, mutt inspired cards, that will have the owner on the card, some stats that a collection of people work together to generate, and the cards will also reveal the team. So this video, it is being recorded in early July. We're probably going to wait to the beginning of August to post it, and this video will also be followed by division release videos where we unveil the owners of each division in similar format to this. But let's go ahead and get to it. Our season 1 champion, Benjamin Beamen Begelman. B,
Good sir, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for being on here.
Yeah, before we get started, who the fuck booed me?
That was me. I had to. It's a friendly
Sorry.
rivalry. Friendly rivalry for next year too.
I appreciate that. I thought you'd be happy I didn't have to play in the playoffs and didn't have to take that L. But I don't know why you booed me. But as you were, Bradley.
But yeah, so I can, never mind. I'm not gonna. Never mind. Moving on. So B,
Sir.
you are the winner of the very first Super Bowl in the league. You went on to make a couple more appearances in the Super Bowl. You in the end, though, you only walked away with one. You came short a couple of times. But tell me, what does that? I don't want to take away from what you did that first season, because what you did that first season was absolutely incredible. I feel like you set yourself up as probably the top owner in the league. What can you tell me? Like, what does that first season mean to you? What does that championship mean to you?
The first season was nice. I mean, I walked in this league knowing that there was a ton of talent. Didn't have a lot of expectations, but I did. And people like Chuck know that usually when I pick a team, I go for a young team, not a lot of good players, not a lot of expensive players. Like I usually take over teams or try to pick teams that need a lot of work. And so heading into this league, I was like, let's try something different. I decided to go with my own Seahawks, knowing that they had all kinds of fucking contract problems. But I was like, you know what? If we're gonna win some, it's probably gonna be early, and let's just go for it. And thankfully, it just kind of worked out that way that I managed to win season one. I mean, obviously, Seahawks had a pretty decent starting off roster, but yeah, I attacked this league different than I have prior leagues, and I think that kind of helped with my early success.
So talking about that first season, in that first Super Bowl, you played Estrada in that first Super Bowl. I'm curious, what is your take on Estrada? Putting you on the spot. There are a lot of mixed opinions on Estrada. What's your take on him?
Well, I mean, I think so. There's the Estrada we all play season one, and that I played in the Super Bowl, who was a top guy, frankly. I mean, obviously, that wasn't the Estrada that ended the cycle with. I mean, he'd tell you that. I don't even think he made the playoffs, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, I think he's good. I think people just lose focus. I mean, I think a lot of people probably lost focus season five. Maybe Estrada just lost focus a little bit earlier than that. So yeah, I think he's still a talented guy. I mean, you don't make a Super Bowl and have to play the people he had to play in the AFC and not have a little bit of talent.
Yeah. So,
So
on the topic of like you beating Estrada, um, you went on to play in two more Super Bowls. Those Super Bowls were against OC and Jmac here on this panel. What are your thoughts on those two games?
I played some people who were good. I mean, obviously I lost them. That's why you're asking about it, and that's why JMac and Orion are here because I lost those. But I don't know what to say. I think for frankly, when I went into the first game against Orion, I don't think I was quite prepared for his attack. Um, if I recall correctly, I was 100% ready to just know that he was going to run on me, and that's the only thing he was capable of doing. Because that's not me talking, by the way, Ryan. Um, and there was just a lot more that came with that. And then also, I think, as you probably could see, I got a little comfortable with things that I was able to do kind of just throughout the season that I wasn't able to do against Orion. Like, I think I proved to everyone I really like to throw it deep to DK. And Orion was like, "Oh, all right, we'll just back that, the cover off, and we'll just see what happens." And so, by the time that happened, I just wasn't ready to adjust. And I at that point just didn't really like running that much, and I like chucking it up. So yeah, he took advantage of that, played a hell of a game. J
Nice.
Mac, similar thing. I think J Mac played his team played much better, and he played much better than I thought was going to happen. I mean, I recall one play where, and this isn't like I'm not blaming a particular animation, but it was just like there were some good plays that went his way, and also he played really well. But I remember like I did a comeback to DK. He ran a comeback route. He was open by about 5 yards, and the cornerback jumped over DK's back and picked it off. And I was like, oh, one of those days. And then on top of that, like he was destroying my defense in the flats, in the middle, and I don't know. At that point, I couldn't adjust, and I think by the time it was time to adjust, it was kind of too late. I ended up, I think, losing by like a couple points. But yeah, J Mac. I mean, we all talked about it, like for what he had on that roster because his starting running back was hurt. He played a very good game.
It's
Very
we'll
good
we'll
game.
get we'll definitely get to J Mac's situation in the season four bowl, but every time I think about it, it's absolutely ridiculous. The guy went up against your death squad, and he did not have a single active player on his roster that was at least 90 overall. Not one single player that was at least 90 overall. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. A big reason why we're here for this show. Not only are we going to be talking to the champions about their championship seasons, but we are also going to reveal their teams. So, Beeman, it's time to reveal your team. Um, I know, like, spoilers, Beeman's already seen his card because Beeman has special privileges and has already seen everybody's cards. But we're going to reveal your team, Beeman. And as we do, there's going to be a list of ratings accompanied with the card. And I want to take a moment to talk about these ratings and how we generated these ratings. So there were basically 3 hands in the pot when it came to generating these ratings. The first hand was Gumbo. Gumbo went through like a trooper and generated ratings for everybody. And these ratings were somewhat of a disaster, right, Chuck?
Yeah.
So basically, I don't know what Jimbo was thinking on this, but he did a lot of people shady. The low ratings for people, they were really low. We took those ratings that Gumbo did and we inflated the numbers a bit to make it to where they would average out and create a realistic overall, kind of honoring the strengths and weaknesses that Gumbo saw. Chuck went through and modified it to kind of create a more realistic approach. And then in the final touches, I tweaked numbers here and there to balance out the scale of everything. But let's go ahead and reveal the first card. Give me 1 second. I will start by dropping these in our group chat. And then from there, am I posting this in the right chat? I better make sure. Yep, that is the right chat. Okay. Beamen, here is your card for the entire group to see. And for the viewer's sake, Beeman's card is now up on the screen. Beamen will be representing the Jacksonville Jaguars. The 6 ratings that these cards have are Madden skill, league activity, trash talk, football IQ, likability, and GM awareness. Beamen, you come in at a 94 overall with a 98 Madden skill, 96 league activity, 84 trash talk, 94 football IQ, 93 likability, and 99 GM awareness. And I'm going to go on the record right now and say this, Beamen, your card overall, it is the highest overall in the league.
We're gonna ignore. I love having the highest overall, but the fact that I don't have the highest, at least a better football IQ and the highest, skill rating or whatever the fuck that shit is doesn't make sense. But well, that's neither here nor there.
Listen, Beamen. I had to give myself the highest Madden skill rating. Okay. Like it only made sense to me. I'm sorry. No, I'm joking. That didn't happen. But we'll get to that.
No, I get it. Hey. When you lose 2 Super Bowls, you immediately become a fucking joke. I could have made less Super Bowls. I could have just made 1 Super Bowl and probably would have had a higher Madden rating or something. But it happens.
I don't think so. I think a big part of your Madden rating is those multiple appearances. So before we go on to the next one, let's take...
Hold on. Before we go on the next one, even though we'll get to it, even though a guy made 1, he has a higher one.
So let's take a moment. Chuck, you already know. OC, Jmac, Kanu. Which one? Who do you guys think has a higher Madden skill than Beamen? Who do you guys think we gave it to?
I really don't know.
I have no idea.
All right. Well, we'll get to it. Obviously me, right? Like that's a thing. So Chuck, season 2 Super Bowl, you got it done. How do you feel about it?
Got lucky, man. I'm lucky to be up here.
I don't know if I would say you got lucky.
Yeah,
I think this Madden was your Madden, man.
What happened?
Oh no, I said I think this Madden was your Madden.
I mean, it was definitely one of the best cycles I've ever played in from front to back. But yeah, it was a good season, man.
How do you think you're going to do next year?
I don't know. Different game. It's going to be a challenge with the team that I'm taking, so we'll see what I could do with that roster. But it's going to be a challenge.
I'm curious, was anybody rooting for Alex to win that Super Bowl in season 2? Beeman, I know you and Alex are homies. Were you rooting for Alex in the season 2 Super Bowl?
Yeah,
I mean, that's a damn if I do, damn if I don't. I'm not answering that fucking question. But I tell you what, Alex lucky he texted me that fucking GG in the middle of that game, or he wouldn't have been in there.
That was definitely a very fun night, very fun broadcast. That broadcast you're referring to. When I think about the season two Super Bowl, Chuck, to me, some of the best moments from our entire cycle stick out. There are two moments that stick out in particular. One moment was in the bowl itself. Alex was gearing up to score again down in the red zone. You popped his runner. He threw up the ball, fumbled it down towards the goal line. Your guys scooped it up, and to me, that was the play that changed the game.
His quarterback specifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then prior to the Super Bowl, in the playoffs, I believe it was in the playoffs. I forget who it was you were playing. I think it was Freight's homie. What was that guy's name? It might not have been Freight's homie.
Was that Chargers? Is it a Chargers guy?
Yeah.
I think it was the Chargers. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no.
You had, what was it, like 8 seconds left in the game? He had just scored
19 seconds.
19 seconds, and then there were comments in the stream chat, this game's over. And then you drove it down the field with like 19 seconds left and made a miracle happen. It was definitely, season 2 was definitely an incredible season for you. And I think most of the league, maybe not Beamen, but most of the league was rooting for you, man. It was definitely an awesome moment seeing you win it. But let's go ahead and reveal Chuck's team. So before we do this, I think Chuck, you have played a master illusion on everybody, right? You have hinted at this team and that team. And I think if we were to take a poll on what team you're going with, nobody's going to see this one coming, though they probably should. In our second cycle, Chuck is returning home. He is heading back to his personal IRL favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings. Chuck comes in with an overall rating of 92. Beeman has hinted that someone on this panel has a Madden skill rating of 99. It apparently is not Chuck. Chuck comes in with a Madden skill rating of 93, league activity of 98, trash talk of 83, football IQ of 95, likability 85, and GM awareness 98. Chuck, how do you feel about these ratings? Are they fair? Did you get shafted?
Yeah, big time. I didn't give myself all these ratings.
Transparency.
A little bit, but
Transparency. I did try to rate his Madden skill higher, okay, but he's like, nah, man, take that down. So he took one for the team. So we have 2 cards revealed. 2 of our Super Bowl champions, their teams have been revealed. Beeman will be rolling with the Jaguars. Fun Guy rolling with the Vikings. And now this brings us to our third season. The third season in the cycle. And that season goes to OC. OC, going into season number 3, I don't think anybody would have picked you to be the winner. And when the Super Bowl came around, you were matched up against Beeman and all the hype he had around him and already his one championship to his name. You went into that game, and I think everyone just kind of wrote you off. Everybody but me. Nobody believed in you, OC, but me. I've had your back every step of the way, man.
Until after he won that Super Bowl and you tossed him aside.
Right? Yeah. Just for that one season, yeah. He's like, "Oh, I got your back."
Oh no, I did not go on record and say you were never going to make another Super Bowl championship or another Super Bowl appearance, because I mean, we know that you did make another appearance, so I didn't say that. Tell me though, OC. how do you feel looking back over that third season in the cycle and the championship you pulled in?
Well, I mean, I just kind of went into it thinking like it's going to be more of the same because I know I'm at least at some level decent at Madden, and I have a decent football IQ. At least I would like to believe. And I was just, playing the first season, entering like week two, but only getting able to play from week three onward. And I played well. I think I got to either the divisional or the conference championship. I lose to Estrada on a shank field goal. And I'm like, okay, well, I know where my footing is in this league at least. I'm someone that can contend. And I did it with objectively a worse team than almost everyone else, like most users. And, season two, same thing, make playoffs, get bounced out. And I'm like, all right, it's more of the same. It's something I've been accustomed to. Season three, I was just like, I went into every week thinking like, all right, I do want to win these games, but at the same time, I'm not going to take it like too serious. It's going to go like step by step, see what happens. Whatever happens, happens. And, luckily being placed in that difficult division, you get to play Chuck, you get to play, who was the Steelers user initially? That
Canes,
got
and then
booted out.
Malibu.
Canes. Yeah, you get Canes, Malibu, get Jumper eventually, and Estrada. And it's like, I'm constantly learning from these games. I'm like, okay, all right. I see what these guys are doing, and I'm going to adapt at least bit by bit, see what they do that is a bit effective, adapt it to my game, and see how it works. And I was just thinking, just try to build my team from the ground up. I didn't really make too many acquisitions and all that. Core identity of my team was still there. The guys that were good for the first season still pretty much became better for the third season. And it was just, I don't want to say luck, but I got some fortunate events to go my way. And it was just easy culmination to a Super Bowl. And that's where I really felt like my real challenge was because we all know how good Beamen is, and we know how potent his passing attack is. And for me, I was really geared in on that, and I entered that. I was like, oh, okay, I got to watch out for KJ Hamler. I got to watch out for Russ. I got to watch out for DK. And then I took one glance at his running back. I said, oh, shit, yo, who is this guy? Like, he is crazy. And seeing his DBs, all that, I was just thinking, I'm like, all right, most of the guys that I face that are good in this league have a very good passing offense, and then they have the defensive backs, they have the defense that are typically able to like bend, not break, but the defensive backs are typically locked down, following the guys the entire time. And I was just thinking, you know, I do use mixing a lot. I was leaning. I was like, if I'm seeing man, I'm just gonna keep on running the ball the entire time because there's nothing they're gonna do. Those guys are gonna take a step back. They're gonna get blocked. I'm gonna have, an easy at least 4 yards. Stretch that out to even more. And I didn't think what Beeman would do offensively would happen with the amount of picks he threw, the amount of like poor decisions he did make. And I just thought, I have that opportunity to just capitalize on it.
So, something I kind of want to talk about with you is, and you kind of alluded to it, and Chucky, maybe you might want to chime in on this too, but that AFC North division that you guys had. Chuck, you pulled in a Super Bowl. OC, you pulled in another and made a second appearance in season 5, but didn't get it done. So you guys both Super Bowl, like you guys were there, you guys won it. And then talking about Estrada made the season 1 bowl. And then talking about the Steelers, first there was Canes and there was Malibu. Both of those guys competed at the very top of the level. And then Jumper came in. Jumper didn't compete at the same level of the other guys. And I think the AFC North, maybe like the credibility of it became a little bit questionable with, and it wasn't anything against you guys, but came a little bit questionable with kind of Estrada falling off and Jumper not kind of being in those same shoes that Canes and Malibu were season 1. Something that I want to talk though about this with you guys. I know Jumper, while he did not compete for a Super Bowl here, I believe he's won a Super Bowl this cycle. I believe he won one over in Madden Kingdom. And I know that has no meaning here, but stick with me on this. He won one over in Madden Kingdom. Estrada has won bowls in multiple leagues this cycle. I believe 3 leagues this cycle. He's won a bowl. And then I'm in. I believe it is Julian's chat. And in Julian's chat, OC, you got a Lombardi trophy or a trophy by your name with ×4 next to it. So while the rest of your guys' division, okay, but I think you guys see where I'm going with
Let me
this.
rectify that real quick. Yeah, it's guys that are good. I want to rectify that. That was, I believe, division wins.
Division wins?
The division winners.
Okay.
And I got it 4 times for the time I was there. I never won a bowl there. I think I've been to a bowl. I just, honestly, like I said before, when I alluded to it, was more of the same. I knew I can get to the deep playoff runs, but I eventually just, flamed out.
What do you guys, Chuck, OC, I know this is kind of off topic, but what are your guys' expectations for your other AFC North rival mates going into next cycle? How do you guys think Jumper and Estrada are going to do next cycle?
I think Estrada is going to do well. I don't want to say what team he's going to get, but I think he's going to compete. I think a lot of what held him back was he was still playing in his PS4 league, and we talked about it a bit in DM, and that was hard for me as well, and that's why I had to drop PS4. But going between PS4 and PS5 is rough. So I think so I think now that he's going to be able to focus strictly on PS5, we're going to see the Estrada from season 1. And Jumper, I think he's more talk than bite, you know. I think he's going to get his boat whooped in that division, man. I'm not going to say what division, but
Jumper made some statements, right? Jumper's made some statements in chat that I just don't know about. Beamen, what do you think about this statement? Jumper has stated in chat that he believes Orion is the top player in the league. What do you think about that, Beamen?
I mean, I don't really fucking care. Like, everyone has an opinion, right? Like, I think anyone on this panel, frankly, could be argued as a top player, and that's because everyone has one super.
Gotcha.
So, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Jumper talks, and that's his thing. He just talks. I mean, you saw all that mess Jumper was talking about me that told me whatever that shitty tier 4. What were the tiers again?
I think it was tier 1, 2, 3, 4.
4 was good.
4 was bad. Tier 1 is what.
So he said I was like top tier 3, like, or some shit like that. I'm like, all right, man. So clearly you're just talking just to talk. And don't get me wrong, I get that. When you're the new guy coming in the league, you gotta make a name for yourself. I remember the first time I came into, a different league and that Brett was in. I told Brett, I saw all them goddamn Super Bowls by his name. I said, I'm gonna hurt Mahomes season 1. He said, who the fuck are you? Right? Like, sometimes you just gotta come in, you gotta make a name for yourself. Now, Jumper has been here long enough. He probably can cut a little bit of that nonsense out, but I don't take anything he says that serious, because I think some of it's just it's a show.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I get that.
If you don't mind if I can cut in. He did the same thing to me. He was telling me like, oh, no, he's not all of that. OC's the most overrated player in the league, and I think twice he said that to me. During a week, we had a matchup. We had a game. And twice Joe Burrow put like 6-7 touchdowns on his head, man. And I wasn't even trying to chat shit because I really don't talk. But, you had Cobra, Lord Hate over there. And he was like, man, you talked all of that just to get pieced up like that. Like, stop it. And then now he's praising me. He's like, oh, he's one of the best. I think I just know how to play guys like him specifically.
Yeah.
Like, he's decent. Like, don't get me wrong, he's decent. He's giving me fits as well, but he's also one of those guys who plays PS4, PS5. It's kind of interesting to see how he will do next cycle, how he will adapt. Obviously, there's a learning curve for every single one of us, but we're going to see who gets above the curve.
Yeah, I will say it was interesting. So I played him, obviously beat him. But going into that, I was like, I'm probably gonna kill this dude by like 40, 50, without trying. Cause like I don't know, like you guys have probably seen some of my games. Like I don't really try to blow people out. T Rob will probably disagree with that, but like I make a conscious decision not to keep trying to score. Because I think that sometimes it, people take that differently and get angry. But like I thought I was gonna end up destroying him without trying. And actually he surprised me. I think, I still won by 2 or 3 touchdowns, but he played much better than I expected him to. So I give him a little bit of credit. He's not terrible. I think he could play.
He's solid. I think like Beeman touched on, like I think talking shit is just part of his game. Like he likes to play head games, but he's just not as good as he talks. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, that's for
Yeah, but he also made some questionable decisions though. He put Bud Dupree as a coverage linebacker, and then he got rid of his running back to get James Robinson, who's like 86 feet. I'm like, so I get it, bro. Like running backs are easy to dev up, but he's not going to be that effective.
Trade for another running back after trading his X Factor running back.
Yeah.
Talking about,
wow. I'm gonna say it right now. He gave Kanu the Super Bowl because the two players that he got. That's what elevated Kanu to that next level.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll get to Kanu's Super Bowl. I told Kanu, what was that, season 3 or season 4 after I beat him in playoffs. I was like, oh yeah, that next season or season 5 is gonna be your season, because Kanu kept losing in like, I think season 1 lost in the wild card, then lost in the division, and then lost in the NFC Championship to me, and then lost in the and then won the Super Bowl. It's like every year he just kept going to that next level. Sorry, I don't mean to steal your thunder there, Kanu.
The thing with Kanu though, you can't even count like his first season with Josh Allen because he was just fucking trying to devil him up. But yeah, we'll get to Kanu.
So, before we get to Kanu, we still have to reveal OC's team. And OC, your team, I hope you're ready for this. OC gets the honor of having the Houston Texans. How do you feel about this, OC? No, I'm joking. OC,
Jesus.
You come in as the San Francisco 49ers.
Jinbosa.
San Francisco 49ers, you come in with a 93 overall, a Madden skill of 96, league activity 89, trash talk 80, football IQ 99, likability 95, and GM awareness of 98. Looking at these ratings, OC, how do you feel?
Hold on, I'm sorry. My brother just screamed at me about some result.
You're good.
I'm surprised about this, honestly, because 99 football IQ, like I said, like I think I have a good IQ. I like to believe I do, but 99 really? I mean, sure, I'll take it. I'm a bit surprised about the league activity and the trash talk. Those should be way down, bro. Like way down. I really do not talk smack, and I kind of be dead sometimes in chat, to be honest. But, the rest of it is like, sure, fine, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's just, it's y'all subjective view on how I am and what I do in the league and whatever. I mean, it's cool to see that you guys do acknowledge me and, you appreciate a bit what I do and respect how I am as a player. But it's whatever.
So my thoughts on the league activity and the trash talk, while you don't really get involved too much in trash talk, I think guys that compete at the highest level, they have a special ability when it comes to trash talk, from the simple fact that whatever they say is backed up. For example, if I'm there running my mouth, it's not going to have the same effect as anything that Beamen would say, right? Like I could say something to someone, calling them out, and be like, "That's dumb, you suck," but people are going to blow it off. But the second Beamen's like, "Yo, that's whack," people are going to stop and listen. So I think part of it is also reception. And I think whenever you speak, people listen, people acknowledge you. They recognize you as a top player in the league. And as far as your league activity, you say you don't feel like you're too active in the league. I feel like you have been one of the top owners all around for us. From the very beginning of the league, you were there, you were active, and I feel like you were active through every part of the league. You got involved in the NWO, which is pretty lame if you ask me. But yeah, I feel like you're just all around active guy. Big part of everything that we did, and we greatly appreciate you. And going to be rolling with the San Francisco 49ers. So we have 2 teams left, and the elusive 99 Madden skill rating is still on the board somewhere. So we're going to get to it. Before we reveal the next card, though, let's talk about season number 4. Season number 4, Jmac, that is your season. I don't think anybody beginning of the season would have said that you would end up doing what you did in that season. There would probably even be people that would have said that there was a chance of you missing the playoffs.
Not
in that division.
True. No, I'm not missing the playoffs there. No.
Walk me through it. Who all were you in division with?
I had P-Will, Jimbo, and then Watts for the Dolphins for a little bit.
So
And
auto
then,
playoffs.
So I didn't really need to do too much.
Watts kind of surprised me there in the end. How do you feel about like Watts, how he did like in season 5 and all that?
I mean, he did beat me early in the season, I think, but we played again later in the season, and I knew I really needed the game, and I think I kicked his ass. So I don't really know too much about him, but no one in my division was very good, so I can't really speak on his talent level too much.
I gotcha. Walk me through your playoff run in season 4 and tell me about the Super Bowl.
Well, I know you said it's like some miraculous thing. I mean, I went through bread. I mean, I played bread.
I totally forgot about that. You ran the gauntlet. You played bread in the wild card, and then in the divisional round, I forget the order that you beat everybody. I forget the order. Yep.
Beamen.
You beat all 3 of the previous Super Bowl winners in your playoff run. So bread and all 3 of the previous Super Bowl winners. Something that I've never seen done in a league, to my knowledge. So absolutely incredible. But I cut in there. My apologies. Tell me about the Super Bowl.
Well, just going up to there, like leading up to the Super Bowl. I mean, I played bread, but I had played him before, and I beat him before. I was very confident going into him, going into the matchup with him. I knew I can play over the top coverage on him. He always looks for like deep post routes out of like weird I formations against me. I guess he wants to get me with like not that many DBs out there. So I was very confident playing him. I knew OC was going to be tough in the divisional round, but the thing is, I played him quite a few times already. I lost to him in the last 2 playoffs. I felt like I could have won both those games, but I shot myself in the foot. He took advantage. He deserved to win those games. So I was.
Hey, you got unlucky in some of those games as well. Like some of those events, like the fumbles and stuff like that. You got a bit unlucky on those. So
the first year.
Yeah. Sheesh, man.
So I mean, I knew it was going to be very tough to beat him, but I at least played him a few times. At least I had an idea. Chuck, I think I played him a couple times. I know one. No, I think we played twice because the first time we played, I feel like you just spammed the hell out of Hollywood Brown for his dev.
Yeah, I don't think this guy of us were really playing because it was like week 17. So
yeah, because
correct.
Because I think I came out and I was like playing weird because I knew I could play you possibly in the playoffs. So I didn't really want to like show you anything. So I was just like, whatever. And I honestly didn't even realize about Hollywood Brown until like halfway through, and it was too late. So I was like, whatever.
Yeah, I got that like in the second quarter, man.
Yeah, you kicked my ass that game with him. But at least I played you before, and I was talking to Show a little bit, and he was I think he was telling me like you ran a lot you ran a lot of underneath stuff against him. So I was at least trying to be mindful, but I was also still trying to play deep most of the whole playoff run because everyone has like ridiculous receivers. Even against Beamen, I'm just playing over the top and just trying to keep everything in front of me. Because it was, I don't know how you guys got these teams. And then I played Beamen in the playoffs and I mean in the Super Bowl. And I remember because I was like, I wasn't sure how I was gonna do it. I remember first possession, he's on offense, he just drives down so easily. I'm like, fuck, this is gonna be a long game. And then he threw a pick to CJ Mosley, and then I was like, all right, I can compete with this. And then I don't know, I just moved the ball well and I didn't make mistakes, which is the most important thing.
Your fucking tight end was a monster. I remember.
Yeah,
Like,
he had a
he was
also you might have scored, but then I came back right back like one player,
Yeah.
two plays. He took it like 80 or 75 yards on a catch up the side.
Yeah, he was. I wasn't quite ready. I mean, like my linebacker were. I felt like built for that, right? Like I had Jordan Brooks, who was like 87 speed. He was an X factor. Bimber Curvin, who's like 87 speed. He was a superstar. I was like, yeah, I should be able to guard these guys. You guys should be able to guard them. And that tight end just routed up everything. I was like, all right, well, it's gonna be one of those.
Yeah, and
kind
he's
of days.
6'6" too, so he can go up and like I've seen him obviously so many times just go up and make ridiculous catches, ridiculous animations because he's 6'6".
Yeah, man, he's nice. Good job developing him. Carroll, I'll never forget that name. Carroll.
Yeah, everyone was letting me know. I don't know how many tight ends had 100 catches in the league cycle, but I think he might have had it twice.
So, Jmac, there's something I need to ask you. I've heard a conspiracy theory floated, and like I just want to bring it up to you so you can potentially squash this theory, so we don't have to deal with it. I have heard it theorized that Zell logged in for you and played the Super Bowl.
No
Which
fucking shot was that Zell I was playing.
Oh, I'm assuming you mean the good Zell. Chevy, not Denzel, not the Texan Zell. But no.
No, Zell did not log in for you and play that Super Bowl.
I can't even believe that's something that someone would say.
Something Bradley said.
Yeah.
Whoa! I didn't. I said it's a theory that I heard floated. I did not say that the theory originated with me. Okay, we don't have to talk about where it originated from. All right, it's fine. It's fine.
I played. Go ahead.
I said figures with Bradley, he'll come up with some wild something like that. He talks to everyone else all nice, and then I come over here. It's like all conspiracy theory. Zell played for me, Super Bowl.
You beat his king. You beat his king. Of course he gotta come after you.
He was going at me since like week 6 that season for whatever reason.
Listen, man. No, I hyped you up that season. I did. I recognize. Listen, your season, that season, if I remember it right, early on you made like an incredible run, and I believe you were positioned to have like a first round bye, and then kind of a little bit on the plus side of the middle part of the season, you kind of took a couple losses in a row and kind of knocked yourself out of that number 1 seed. And so through the course of that season, I was hyping up the success you were having. And then when you kind of fell out of contention for that number 1 seed, I kind of called it out. And like, I feel like sometimes some people get a little upset with me when I'm calling stuff out like that and we're covering the lead, but like, legit, dude, it's never personal. And like, if anything, if I'm talking about you in the shows, you're doing something good. So yeah,
unless you're Jeff,
yeah, screw that guy. I'm just kidding. Jeff has grown on me. Jeff has grown on me. I like Jeff now. Me and Jeff we're friends. I beat him, so we're square.
See, and about that season, I'm like, that's the thing. I'm in that division. I know I don't have to necessarily focus and go crazy every
Yeah.
game, because I really only need like 9 wins, 10 at the max. So I don't really need to, like, I know I can, as long as I win my divisional games, I don't really need to do much else the rest of the season.
How does his division shape up next year, Chuck? Have we seen it? Do you know off the top of your head?
Let's unveil his team and find out.
From the
we'll
rumors
unveil
I've
his
been
team.
hearing, I don't think it's going to be as easy.
Let's unveil Jmac's team now. Before we unveil your team, Jmac, I want to talk to you for a moment, okay? You're being all like Bradley just doesn't say nice things to me. I want you to know, I am not 100% responsible for these ratings, okay?
Yes,
It's
you are.
just when you say things with no substance behind them.
Yes,
Okay.
There
you
was no
are.
substance behind your words.
All right.
Hey,
So
There's no evidence.
before we unveil this, Jmac, I want to tell you before we unveil this, out of everybody in this call, your overall does come in as the lowest. And I do want to say, though, outside of this call, there is nobody in the league that has a higher overall than you do. All right? So let's unveil this. Okay. It is loading in our group chat. And for the viewers at home, Jmac will be rolling with the New York Giants. He comes in as an 89 overall. His Madden skill comes in as a 90 overall, league activity 80, trash talk 94, football IQ 97, likability 87, and GM awareness 87. As we look at this, I feel like something that probably negatively affected your ratings was how season 5 played out for you. Season 5, at the start of it, was a pretty rough season for you. I think if that season probably would have gone a little bit better, we'd probably see your card be rated a bit higher. But in the end, this is still like top 5 in the league. And your card is a gold card. The only gold cards in the league are the gentlemen on this panel, the Super Bowl champions. Looking at this card, J-Mac, how do you feel?
Well, once again, with the start of last season, the division, I ended up winning the division.
Yeah.
I can lose the early games because I know I can win in that division. So that, and also with the rating, I feel like, because I joined like midway season 2, so I was a little bit behind the 8 ball because the team I took, the Jets weren't that great. So I feel like you'll see more, like going into like say Madden 23, I would have a higher rating because I'm going to be with you guys from day 1 this year, level playing field. I expect my team to be up there, like how like Beamen and Chuck had their teams, like by like season 3 and 4. Hopefully, that's just not something that was possible with the Jets.
Yeah.
So now, if I start from day 1 with the Giants, I think it's going to reflect in more success and higher ratings and all that, whatever.
Have you been in other leagues like this before?
Well, I used to play PS4 like Facebook leagues, but I haven't played any leagues in years. It's probably been since like Madden 18, 19, something like that. So this was my first time really getting back into it.
That's
I played
super
MUT.
respectable.
I played MUT a little bit, like for a few days. Kanu knows I played MUT with like Show and Chevy a little bit. But getting back into Elite Season 2, that was my first time playing like any leagues in a few years, so I had to get my footing. So by the time, obviously by the cycle ended, I knew what was going on. So now next cycle, I think I'll be ready to go.
You ready? Yep.
True
I
story.
just want to say I think J-Mac's Super Bowl run was the most impressive, just because of
I agree.
who he went up against, and also because of his team overall. All the cards were stacked against him, man, and he won. So what you did was impressive, man. And hearing what you said right now, that's even more impressive.
I couldn't agree more.
And It's not easy. You got guys like Chuck with these DBs and my receivers getting pressed into the ground, can't even get off the line of scrimmage. I have to sit here figure it out what in God's name I can do. I get very worried playing dudes like that.
All
Good
of
job,
this,
man.
all of this brings
But
us.
one more thing, I
Yeah.
thought you should have been at least a 90 overall, man. But
It's all right. Now that I know who did the ratings, it all makes sense.
It all makes sense. I would say one thing though that you touched on, Jmac, this being your first Madden League in a while, did I feel for that because I didn't start playing franchises like this until last Madden, and dude, I feel like although you know how to maybe run a team and you know how to play Madden, like just interacting with 32 dudes and developing team and honestly trying to trade, right? Like with actual people
Mhm.
nonstop, it definitely takes some getting used to. So I respect that.
And I will say one more thing. This is my first league and whatever, but I will say I'm obviously very glad I found this league because this has definitely been the most active league I've ever been a part of. I open up the Discord and there's damn near 300 messages all the time. It felt like, we're advancing like the next day at times. I'm like, I look up, wow, we advanced already. So this has definitely been the most active league I've been in, and definitely as far as the media part, that just puts it even more up top.
I
appreciate that, man.
I don't think CFM gets the credit it deserves. I mean, for example, take someone like Gaming Powerhouse, very well known in the Madden community. We saw him come in, and I think most people would probably put GPH as a bottom tier guy in the league, to be honest. A guy who is very well versed in Madden, but there's a lot more to CFM than meets the eye. But all of this said, let's move on to the fifth and final season. That season goes to Kanu. Kanu. Prior to the launch of season 5, we put together a strength of schedule graphic and we made a discovery when we put that together. That discovery being you were going into ridiculous, an absolutely ridiculous season. Your strength of schedule, for the season that you were looking at was a 0.59. And you can pull up the strength of schedule for like all of the IRL NFL teams going into next season, and you will see that 0.59, it is significantly higher than what any team IRL is looking at next year. The competition you faced in season 5 was absolutely ridiculous. And you look over your schedule from season 5, you pull up Daddy Leagues and you look over your schedule from season 5. Not only did you go in and face that schedule, but you dominated that schedule. How do you feel about your overall season and the playoffs and the season 5 Super Bowl?
Things just set up perfectly for me in season 5. That strength of schedule really, really helped me a lot, actually. I had been playing a tough schedule most of the cycle because my division was tough with Alex and Cobra, and I was winning the division, so I was always playing the number 1 team on the other side. But this season, I played, Orion twice this season, effectively. I played Beamen, I played Chuck, played everybody here except Jmac. But it really actually helped me because from the time that I joined the league this cycle, the first game I played against Alex, and he beat the living shit out of me. I mean, it was like 50 to 10, something crazy. I played Brett, and he did the same exact thing and scored, I don't know, 60 points on me. and I hadn't played for a while, and I was like, oh, man. But by season 5, when you add in that schedule, I felt so comfortable playing the top teams throughout the season that I knew once I got to the playoffs, honestly, I felt comfortable and I felt like I was the best team left. So in that respect, it really helped.
So Jmac, we heard Jmac talking about his experience in the league, and he talked about how he came in season two, and prior to that, he had been years away from Madden. You were in somewhat of a similar boat. What was the last Madden that you were in a league? Remind me.
I believe it's Madden 17. The last time I played CFM, and really
Madden
any
17.
Madden. I mean, I played a couple games of but early on, but that's about it.
That is wild, and I think I think your
You're,
progression
there's
was you're cutting out a little bit there. What were you saying?
I was just saying, I mean, there's a huge learning curve, particularly to this cycle.
Yeah,
I mean, when those first few games I played, I had people not covering anybody, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Um, so I think just over the seasons, I got more comfortable. So
I think everybody in the league saw the progression that you were having through the season, and I think while the early seasons you weren't at those late playoff stages, I think everybody recognized the potential that was there. I forget what season it was, but I remember at one point it was early on, either season one or season two. But I went on record saying by the end of this cycle, Kanu will have a bowl. And I think your progression was definitely something that people could see. The talent was definitely there. And you talk about how the competition is kind of what enabled it. I really believe that competition does bring the best out of people. I mean, we saw that with Chuck and OC. But let's talk about your team, Kanye. Beeman kind of made it clear from the start of this show that somebody was going to have a Madden skill rating 1 point higher than his 98. And all four of the other cards have been revealed. So far, nobody has the 1 point higher than 98. Nobody until now. Your card is loading up. You will be rolling with the Indianapolis Colts. You will come in with an overall rating of 92, the elusive Madden skill rating of 99 falls to you. League activity 89, trash talk 92, football IQ 98, likability 75, GM awareness 99. Looking at this card and your team, how do you feel? Beeman's over there shaking his head no.
look, it's a lot to live up to. Especially being higher rated than Beeman over there on Madden. Look, I think it's pretty good. I don't expect to be likable amongst this crew. Um, look, I'm the nicest person outside of the game. I've made this known on other shows. Look, I'm happy to grab a beer with any of you guys, but the league and the game, I'm a talk trash, and I'm probably not going to be likable. So I get it. It's cool.
So I
But no,
think there's layers to the likability thing. I think I wouldn't read too much into it.
I like you.
Unless, yeah, yeah.
uh, I'm very
I'll go
humbled
with
by
you.
the 99 though, so I got a lot to live up to next cycle, obviously.
Yeah, the thing that impressed me about Canu was just the Eagles. They weren't a good roster when he took over them, and he built up that roster. Man, by season five, that defense was scary, especially the defensive line and Bush, and the way he built up Josh Allen. I knew what he was doing when he traded for Allen. I knew that season was going to be a wash, and just to build him up the way he did it. And I would say Canu and Orion are two of the smartest players in the league. They're not someone that just loads up and plays. They know their opponents. They know what they got to do to beat them, and they do it. And I've played in leagues with Canu before, and he's did the little um, he'll play possum the first season, and learn his opponents. And the second season, you start to see who he really is. And I think we've seen that this year. But yeah, those ratings are accurate, and he should be proud of them, man.
Beeman, what are you
Good
thinking
man.
over there?
No, I'm just being funny. No, Kanu deserves it. I mean, he's the last Super Bowl winner.
I think a big thing that played into that 99 was that strength of schedule that he had in that season 5 run.
And the way he won in the playoffs, man, the way he beat everybody, it wasn't close.
OC, I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
If Joe Mixon was healthy in the Super Bowl, how do you think the game would have played out? Would it have made a difference?
You know, Orion's too nice to say, hell yeah, I would have won that game. Don't ask him that shit.
No. It's not even that. It's just I really don't think like maybe he'd have a slightly better performance, but off of what I know of playing Canoe before when we played in their first game, which was that Mixon really didn't perform well. Like he didn't have many touches that game, rushing the ball. He only had one big run. The rest of it was like 2 yard runs, 3 yard runs because his defensive line was getting to me. So honestly, I don't know if Mixon would have made that much more of an impact had he played the Super Bowl. The only real like downfall was that I lost to a better opponent. I made more mistakes. He capitalized, and he made a lot more right decisions than me.
Very good. Super respectable. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank all of you for being a part of this show. I want to thank all of you for your contribution to the league in our first cycle. And I wish you all good luck in our cycle to come. All 5 of you are a huge part of this league, and we would not be what we are if any of you were not at the table. Thank you,
And
guys.
one more thing.
Yeah.
Before we end it, but I just want to say I thought it was really cool that we had 5 different champions. There's a lot of leagues that I've been in.
I agree.
Where it would just be Beamen up here, and maybe one other person. So the diversity is great, man, and I thought it was a really cool season, man. Or cycle. Hopefully next year will be just as good.
Yeah, I agree. And hey, Chuck, I want the $20 you promised me for throwing them Super Bowls. Make sure we have diversity.
Yeah, but you were supposed
You got my Venmo, bro.
All right. On that note, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you, guys. Everyone stay posted. There will be more team reveals coming through the rest of this month. Peace.
Later.